An ag organization is where product and tech think in terms of product and the rest of the organization thinks in terms of projects. But if you want to create digital scalable products, I think there is no way around being a true product organization. Who will change the organization? I think it's this person here. Product leadership is responsible for that. You're responsible for changing the environment around you, the environment where your teams operate in. That should be the focus of product leaders. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I know what you're thinking. What the heck is an ag organization, and why the hell should I actually care? Well, the ag organization is nothing we invented. It is more something we observed, working with companies who wanted to go from project to product. So why would you want to go from a project mode to a product company? Anybody? Why would you do that? We found there is just one answer for that: scalability. Companies naturally want to be more scalable. That's the driving force for many companies to do better product management. And especially that's true in the B2B space. So this talk is really focused on B2B product leader. If you're working in B2C, you need to take it with a grain of salt, or you just need to replace every time I say customer, which is indicated by the icon of the king or queen, and you replace it by stakeholder, and you might have a really good time today as well. So the ag organization is something between project and product. And I want to take you on a journey, yeah? I want to tell you how it feels to work in such an organization, so you can think, okay, am I in such an organization maybe? Then I will, tell you a little bit how we think about it. So, like how to steer these companies. And then I want to tell you a little bit about what you can do in order to change your company to become truly scalable. All right, let's get started. How does it feel to work in an ag organization? Here, I remember the first day when I thought about the ag, right? I had a call with a client, and he told me, Thomas, I want to strengthen our product management department, right? And they thought about introducing, OKRs, doing better product discovery, and these things, like getting better in product, right? And we talked through, right? We mapped out the organization as you can see it here, right? We've been really both on the Miro board, and we just, mapped it out. It was a brick and mortar company, right? And basically, like at the end of the conversation, we actually summarized that for him, the situation is that everybody in the organization had great ideas, right? And they just threw the ideas over the fence to the product department, right? And all they actually wanted in return is a finishing date. And the finishing date mostly was today. Yeah, that's how it feels in such an organization. Yeah, and if you work in such an organization, there are two mindsets. The one mindset is, hey, let's do an iteration, yeah, and see, like how we can improve. And the other one is just, I know what I want, yeah, and when can I have it? Yeah, the one is, let's do discovery, talk to customers. And the other one is, I know for sure what I want. I know it already. This is my solution. Please build it. Yeah, when is it done? Or why do you want to talk to my customer? Right? Something like that. You want to apply best practices, and they say, I don't care, stand up. You can make, handstand, yoga session in the morning. I don't care, as long as you deliver on time. So now, I think you notice now, like, what is the ag organization? You already can see it. An ag organization is where product and tech think in terms of product, and the rest of the organization thinks in terms of projects. And the egg yolk is product, and the rest of the organization is project. I don't want to argue that product is per se better than project. It's not this is better than the other. There are beautiful companies out there based on projects. Yeah? But if you want to create scalable products, digital scalable products, I think there is no way around being a true product organization. Now, here comes the problem with that. Who will change the organization? And I think it's this person here. Product leadership is responsible for that because there is nobody else in the organization who does it for them. Thank you. Thank you. That's why I put it on the slide. You're responsible for changing the environment around you, the environment where your teams operate in. That should be the focus of product management, product leaders, sorry. So that was how it feels in such an organization. Now let's go into how we think about organization, and I want to give you some mental frameworks. I want to explain where project companies come from and how, how the mechanics are in these organizations. So where do these companies come from? Yeah, if we look at B2B software companies, they are very often born with a single client, right? And you have a project with this client, and you build basically what they want, right? And after running a 2 years project, you think after 1.5 years, wow, what a great software. I wonder, we need to sell this thing again. Must be possible, right? And you go out in the market, right? And you find your second client. The second client says like, wow, amazing. But actually, our process is a little bit different. Yeah? Can you add something here and can you leave something there? And you say, 80%? We already have 80%. Nice, we'll just do that, right? Done. You get a third one and you get better getting these clients, right? That feels amazing. Company is growing, everything is great. But then after a while here, everything breaks. Why does it break? You have the scope of the first customer, second customer wants something more and something less. No problem for the second client. But imagine down the road, 10th client. Here, a little bit used by everybody, and here, a lot of mess used by single clients. Dependencies, maintenance, 5 years down the road of that crappy feature we built for that client, and that breaks your back. And one CEO summed it up and said, we shipped more with 10 engineers in the early days than with 100 engineers today. How can that be? We call that project stacking. You stack one project on top of another, and you think it's a product, but it isn't. So we thought a lot about the difference between project and product, and actually there is 7 major differences, 7 major areas where these companies really differentiate each other. Segmentation for project companies, they don't need segmentation. As long as there is a client wants something, right, and has money, you think, okay, can we build that? And sure enough, software, you can build almost everything. And if you ask your engineer, wow, great challenge, let's do that, right? And you start building something. And then, okay, what's the price? Actually, really easy. Time and material, yeah, plus 20% margin. It's just like the bakery methodology, right? The bakery logic. Yeah, I have some, ingredients, and then a little bit timer on top, and then a little bit margin. And then, sales fixed the scope with the client together. Yeah, you're done with pricing. You give it to product management. And product management then says, okay, great, let's do product discovery. And they're like, oh, God damn it. I don't want to do discovery. These companies, they don't want to do product discovery. They're just annoyed by product discovery. Yeah, and I can understand it. If you fixed everything and, okay, what's the difference? How do product companies do? Yeah, they are really keen here to just get the same scope over and over. They don't think in single clients, they think in segments. Can I sell over and over again? Can I add more clients in this segment or not? When it comes to pricing, they say like, new feature? What the heck? I'm not so sure if my clients really want that. So they go out and first check if they really, really can sell that. And they ask themselves, should I build that? So should versus can is a fundamentally different question. Should we build it or can we build it? Fundamentally different. Yeah, and if I go out with should, then I end up with product discovery. Right. So now it gets a little bit messy here. I want to look at prioritization because that's always a struggle for many companies. So let's look how that works in project companies. I already wrote here workload, right? This is like the indication of how much work you have, right? We have here at the end the capacity or the output capacity. Of course, you have more ideas than capacity you can output. That's just the definition of an organization. It's true for every organization, right? Or anybody here who has less ideas than engineers would be really strange. So, okay, customer comes to salesman. Salesman says, great, you want to buy this car? Let's add some special feature on that, right? So salespeople are trained to make things more complex. A bigger project, more revenue, and it's not bad if I get a kickback on that, right? So salesmen are incentivized to make things more complicated, right? We get a bigger scope, not a smaller scope. And then, price and scope is fixed. It comes to product management. Product management is only there to schedule something, not to sort it out. And then, you have a huge list of wishes coming to an engineering department, which has just too little capacity for all your wishes. And things break, right? That's the battle around the prioritization, a battle around the roadmap, client called that. Right? Which client screams the loudest that we can build it next week? How does that work in product companies? Totally different, because they use filters. They filter their segments and think, okay, do I really want to serve these people, or is it only these people? It's a filter, right? You say no to people. You say no to features. You say no to engineering effort, right? Pricing, yeah? If a feature just wants one customer, I'll just put 5 times the price tag on that. So it filters out itself, right? It's a filter. Product discovery, again, I don't build the whole thing. I test with smaller iterations and I filter out some ideas, right? So we have here, it's a funnel. It's getting smaller, the workload. And again, it comes to product management. It gets smaller. It gets less work. And then I have, a manageable amount of workload in the department. It's not so hard anymore. It's easier. It's never easy, but it's easier to find a roadmap for the company. So I hope you can see how everything is connected, right? Good segmentation, good pricing. They give you the possibility to have more resources in your product department, give you more resources to really do product discovery. With product discovery, I know where I need to put more effort in my code, which processes are variable with my clients. Where do I need to add configuration? When I have configuration, it enables our sales team here to target a broader market. When you add configuration, think about Shopify, for example, right? Shopify, if you do all plugins of the Shopify, put it away. Plugins is a way of configuration, right? It would be a very narrow market. They have tons of plugins, so you have a wide market, right? And if you do that, like prioritization gets easier and you don't need to push everything into engineering, but they can pull stuff. So everything is connected. So if everything is connected, yeah, and you're working in product, how would you solve these problems just by focusing on your product department? It's not working, right? You need to see, as a product leader, you need to see the big picture and target the surroundings. That's the true challenge. It's super hard. It's super hard to even change one person. It's even harder to, change your department, but the whole organization, that's really, really challenging. So how do you do that? So alignment here on leadership level is the key to unlock that. And here are 2 smart questions which we found out are really usable. The first is, why do we want to become a more product-driven company? What is the answer? We had it already. Scalability. Okay? Here's a scalability. And what gives us scalability? Profitability. What is profitability? Money, money, money. Yeah, there's always the boss or the boss's boss who wants to earn more money. Yeah, or the boss and the boss's boss investor, like Christoph here, yeah, who wants to earn more money. I invested money into this company. I want to have more, right? I want to be them scalable. Yeah, that's the driver. That's the goal. And behind that goal, you can actually align your organization. So here is the alignment question. What do we need to change to become more scalable? What do we need to change as an organization to become more scalable? Let me talk you through a case study so you can see how we can apply this question. So this is a software company, B2B space, and they had like a huge list of things here which they wanted the engineering department to do, right? That's why they get in touch with us. They said, okay, we have a problem with product management, right? We looked into the company. Segmentation was not really their strongest skill, right? They had huge clients, but super diverse. Yeah, one client, automotive industry, OEM, logistics, really huge company, huge contract. Then the second client was fast-moving consumer goods. The third was brick-and-mortar store. Like hugely different segments, right? Pricing, time and material, plus a little bit of margin. What's the problem there? They had really in their books, they had some features where they used 50 times the engineering demand, which they quoted in the sales process. Imagine that. 50 times the amount, yeah? In the segments, I need to mention that they had 80% these huge clients, and there was 20% of smaller clients, which actually didn't need any code configuration. Yeah, when they did configurations for the huge clients, it was mostly done in code. Yeah, the smaller clients, they didn't need that. Their product department was really weak because decision what to build was done here, client plus salesman, yeah, or CEO, which was a really charismatic, strong figure, right? So he had also like a lot of, connections to the people in the industry. Yeah. So product management was really weak because they just scheduled the things they got from sales department, right? And then, product discovery, they didn't do any because there was no product sense in the company, right? Prioritization was a mess because you see this huge list. Yeah, you have here screaming clients, and every week another client was more important. Yeah, so they shifted every now and then their features. So now I need your help. What do we do What do we need to do to become more scalable? Any ideas? Sorry, louder? Say no. No, here, right? Or did you say no somewhere else? No, what else? Other ideas? Use AI. That's the best answer. Sorry? Find a segment. Which segment would you take? This one, 20%. Way smaller, but we don't need any engineering effort there. What else? Any ideas? Sorry? For what? No pricing, but improve pricing. Let's turn it around, right? Improve pricing. What else? Sorry, louder. So see, a lot of ideas. You can do that too. It's not. You don't need to be a genius to come up with these ideas. Yeah, you only need to see the big picture. You need to gather the data, like I presented in your organization. You need to connect the dots and show what's the impact if we say no here or say yes here. What's the impact if we give that feature away for free? What's the impact if we do not spend more time into configuration? You need to connect the dots. That's your job. And therefore, we do an X-ray of the organization, right? We collect data, we assemble this picture of how the organization actually works, right? And then, once you can present the organization or can show them what's the impact, then you unlock that people actually change their behavior. So if you take away one thing from that 30-minute talk, right, is that you as a product leader should actually focus on the environment and the culture and the mindset and your surrounding first, yeah? Because, first, focusing on your product department and improving, remember the call? Like a little bit discovery or OKRs, right? It is easier to focus on your realm, your environment, your kingdom, right? And say, okay, let's improve something here. That's, for sure, it's easier, yeah? It's what everybody is doing. Nobody can claim you on that. But it won't solve the root cause of your struggles. And the root cause of your struggles is that the organization itself is not thinking product. So, aligning leadership on what needs to change to become more scalable is the game plan to unlock product mode. Let me read that again. The aligning leadership on what needs to change to become more scalable is your game plan to unlock product. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Are there any questions from your side? We have room or time for one question. All right. No, I think I can't kick this. All right, take care, please. Oh, right in the middle. Oh, over there. Can you throw that back? Perfect.
All right, can you hear me, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think it was really insightful. I think the main question that interests most of us, how could you manage to convince the stakeholders to actually shift from the project to the product management?
I think it doesn't work like that. I think you as a product leader need to have a different position. You need to go to the other departments and approach them with a question, how can I help you that we're scalable together? And that's really it's not that if you tell the others what they should do, it will never work. Yeah. So you really need to, the investigation you can do by asking them, how can I help you that we are both better off, right? But I think the scalability and the profit and the money, that is how you get your CEO or your superior into the game. Because that question is really clarifying. What do we what do we all together? Like if you imagine you have everybody in the leadership room in one room and you ask, okay, what do we need to do to be more successful and more scalable? The answer will be more product management, better product management. But you cannot, push it down their throat and say, like, let's do product management.
Yep. Thanks.
All right. I think we have time for one more question, if there is any in the room. There we go. Perfect. Good catch.
Oh, yeah. So, your presentation was pretty good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I'm more in the hardware area, and so I'm always wondering how we can use the knowledge what you have in the software area, how we can use it for the hardware as well. It's hard because software gives product information really back, and with hardware you need to collect it somehow else. That's one thing. So from my experience, modularization is what you called, configuration. You called it configuration.
Yeah.
So that is modularization is in hardware. Is there any specific hint you can give for hardware product management?
No. Yeah, some thoughts. You need to adapt it for yourself. You said like, okay, modularity is configuration. I see it the same way. I think it's even more important for hardware products. Because if you think about it, segmentation in software you can change pretty fast. In hardware, it's even harder. I mean, we have Christian later on the stage. Maybe he can answer it even better than me. But you fix much earlier in the process, and therefore I think it's even more important to do your due diligence, like what we need to build. And that is basically, again, product management, discovery, also like aligning with the other with the other people in the organization. It's not that product management is like the king or queen who decides internally, right? You facilitate like a process, and yeah, at the end of the day, hardware is different, and you need to see how you can adapt it.
Okay. So just another comment, if I'm allowed to do.
Sure.
You talked about change management as well, and I really like that perspective. I just recently took a training in change management, and that is what I can recommend to any of the product management colleagues here. It's important. It helps to do a good stakeholder management, and as you said, it helps to change the organization to a product organization.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your questions, and thank you so much, Thomas. So.